Hey everyone, welcome back to another incredible, fun, rejuvenating episode of the Gathering Movement interview series. I'm very, very grateful today to be here with Corbie Mitleid, and we're going to be talking about her journey, her incredible books, her intuitive knowing, and just everything that makes her her. So welcome, Corbie.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm glad I pronounced your last name correctly. So we are
brilliantly.
So this show is really all about empowering the leader within us all. And what I always love to start with is, how does your work in the world empower us all to be the leader of our own life?
You know, there are a lot of psychics out there who say, oh, I'm so special and I can do this and amazing. And, you know, I just look at you and go, you can do what I do. I'm not special. And the example that I use is, we all have 10 fingers. All of us can pick out chopsticks on the piano. Some of us, if we do our scales and we practice and we put time into it, can be really competent. 1 in a million is Elton John. So, but you've got 10 fingers. You've got to put them somewhere and play. You will shock yourself when your passion is there, just what you can do.
Thank you. So that initial reminder of, like, we all have this innate wisdom within us, and we can just choose to practice, to try it out, to see how it goes.
Yes. Yes. So I came to my road a little checkered, but people always want to know, well, when did you know? When I was 9, I read a book called The Witch Family by Eleanor Estes, and instead of thinking, ooh, that's scary, or ha, 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 I thought, and your point is, I knew there was magic in the world. I wanted to go find it. Fast forward to 1973, when I was a senior in high school. Yes, my dears, that tells you how old I am. Working part-time at Spencer Gifts, they had the James Bond 007 tarot deck, and I bought it. We were all hippies then. We had the elephant bell bottoms and the fringe jackets and the tarot decks. Now, 5 years later, everyone else was on to roller skates and disco balls. I was still reading the cards. I loved them. So for 20 years, I read, practiced, kept my ego out of the way. All of a sudden, in 1994, I could do hands-on healing and talk to dead people with no training. That's when the universe handed me my draft notice and said, hello, you're working for us. So I did it part-time. Well, I was also an actress, an author, an inspirational speaker, a legal assistant, a video producer, writer for a famous graphic novel series, an executive recruiter for engineering and manufacturing. No, not all at once, but that was the checkered career. 9/11, my husband and I watched the towers burn, and I turned to him. I said, I'm going to need to do my work full time. People need to know there are other answers out there. He said, I believe in you, go do it. So I took 1 year to still work 70 hours a week as an executive recruiter, doing the psychic work evenings and weekends till I was sure I could make a living at it. In 2002, I left corporate and I have never looked back. So now it's 6 days a week, 3 books, 1,000 readings a year. And I get to get up every morning. I don't have to get up every morning. That's key.
When you were making that transition from, kind of working full time, but then doing this more part-time, were people in your world, like the people that you're working with in corporate, did they understand what you were doing? Did they respect? Did they get it?
They didn't. And the tiny little story that will explain this is I'm also a trained actress and I do voiceovers. So for gag gifts one Christmas, my boss gave me a t-shirt that said something on the order of, you're just jealous that the voices talk to me. She meant the voiceover training. And I just laughed and laughed and laughed because she had no idea what she really had given me. So no, they just kind of patted me on the head and said, yes, dear, yes, dear. Well, it's not bowling, but I guess it's a hobby. To this day, that last boss looks at me and just shakes her head. She could not believe that I was going to have a worldwide rep and this would be my career for now, 20 years?
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. I'm just like smiling inside. I feel like many of us have probably had those moments. And I'm curious, like, in your opinion, if you feel that spirit kind of guides us through these little clues throughout most of our life. Like I used to watch The Haunting on like TLC or whatever it was on. and be very interested at a young age, not understanding that maybe there was a world, beyond this.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel that we're always given these little hints and these little nudges?
And if we don't listen to the nudges, they give us an elbow in the ribs. And then if we really are not listening, we get a clue brick upside the head. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So.
Have you had teachers on this journey, or was Source Spirit your teacher?
Depends on what you mean by teachers. One person who I'm still friends with after half a century is a wonderful woman. Her name is Zipporah Katz. She was high priestess when I was first looking at Wicca in my early 20s. She was the founder of Blue Star Company in New York, well known, very well respected. She's the only one to this day that I'll call boss, and she still calls me brat. But she was one that saw my potential and would hold my feet to the fire. She wouldn't let me get away with sloppy, and she wouldn't let me get away with half-baked. Reverend Jane out in Pennsylvania was a mediumship teacher for me. A woman that I consider my sensei, which is Japanese for teacher with more of an honorific, is the magnificent author, writer, artist Wendy Peeney of ElfQuest. She and her husband Richard hired me in the late 80s, and we have been connected ever since. But Wendy too held me to my truth. And some of it was very painful. But when I look at who I've become now, absolutely everything was worth it. So, as I say, for those people, a bow of respect and an ocean of thanks.
I'm going to assume that many of the people who are listening to this have maybe heard of psychic mediumship. They are into spirituality. And one of the things that stuck out to me about when you were sharing the book that you wrote is really how to discern between and choose the right medium for you. How does one go about doing that? Yeah, share a little bit more about that.
Sure. That's actually the first chapter, and it's based on a lecture I do called Psychics 101, The Good, the Bad, and the Cleos. The whole point is, I've heard some people say, oh, well, you should just sit there and tell them nothing, and if they get anything right, they're good, or you should lie to them in your head, and if they say you're lying, they're good. Hello. And then there's what I call the cosmic muffin version. If you stand in front of their table at a psychic fair for more than 5 seconds, those are your angels saying, have a reading here. No. There is no better business bureau for psychics. So hold on, sorry, sneeze. And I don't have a drop button.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. What I have is I have a mnemonic. What's a mnemonic? PTA, Parent Teachers Association. That's when letters give you the words. And the mnemonic I have for finding a really great intuitive counselor, psychic medium, past life expert, whatever, is the word psychic. Professionalism, shared references, you are in charge, charges, here I can fix anything for a price. Those are the stories everybody loves. Inappropriate actions and connections. And right there is a half an hour to 45-minute lecture. So I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but that's the first part of the book. The second chapter is how to have a great psychic experience. And again, there's a mnemonic for that. And the mnemonic is the word answer. Accept responsibility for your part in the session. No pop quizzes, no comparisons. State your intentions clearly. Widen your horizons. Evaluate the information and respond to the universe. So the whole point is, I don't do this book in a way of saying, I am the only psychic you should ever see. Never, 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 never. This will keep you safe with anybody. And if you never come to me, but this book is useful to you, I have done my thing. Because a lot of books out there, for whatever reason, they're good books, but they have the underlying, and nobody out there is honest except me. And there are 9 billion people in the world. I can't read them all. I want you to go to a good psychic locally if you can find one. I do. I
really appreciate that, because I always say, yoga, I didn't I didn't come up with yoga. I didn't come up with Ayurveda. I didn't come up
Mm-hmm.
with the idea of creating a podcast. Like, I believe that we're the vessel for the message, but there are
Mm-hmm.
many vessels for the message. And you really just have to find the one that works for you. So it sounds like this book is that invitation of, here's information that will help you on your journey, and you can come to me, but there are many, many more who can also assist you.
Absolutely. As John Holland, the very well-known psychic medium, says, we are just the tube it comes through. It's not us.
Mic drop.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. So one thing that it's been exciting to me to see more shows on TV that are talking more about the supernatural. I don't know if you've heard of Goop, and there's been a couple, something on Netflix called Surviving Death, and they talk about psychics and mediumship. To me, that's exciting that this is becoming, seen as not weird, not kooky. This is normalized. And I'm curious your perspective on what happens when more people know about psychic mediumship.
It's a two-edged sword. When more people know about it, then the charlatans come out of the work. You can come to someone like me, but there are what I call the fake gypsies who wear the scarf and the jewelry, and they do the bad accent. Oh, you have a family curse. How many in your family? 4. You have dog. $50 every family member. 25 for dog. He's small. He thinks. I have had to pull more people away from that. They come to me telling me they have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, and now they poach. I do a free reading hour on Facebook every month. And while I'm working, and I'm fast, so probably I'll read between 40 and 60 people in the hour, readings like this. Then someone will come in and say, I am drawn to have a reading with you. DM me, to the clients. But my people know that's a troll, that's a poach. Just let us know who they are, and we'll ban them from the page. So in that sense, there's a lot of skeezicks coming in. But it does reassure people that you can get that information. But reality shows are different. I cannot tell you how much reality shows are different. One of the things that drives me crazy, what I call drive-by psychic shootings. When you're in the frozen pizza section and someone comes up to you, like the Long Island medium is, I have a message from your Aunt Doris. Your back tire is bulged. You're going to die in a car accident in a week if you don't fix it. She's telling you, and she walks away. What? No. Anybody comes up to you like that, you tell them, leave. And if they follow you, you get management. That's harassment. Spiritualists who are very legitimate, if they have a message, they will say, my name is Mary Smith and I am a spiritualist. I believe I have a message for you. May I come to you? But if you say no, that's it. Their ego does not trump your comfort level. You gotta know the difference between that.
Yeah. Same thing with, say, Reiki. You don't just do the healing. You always say, am I invited? Am I welcomed?
Oh my, I cannot tell you. You just hit a hot button, because very often at psychic fairs, well, yeah, we're all colleagues, but I have said, God, I have a headache today. And somebody said, can I help you? I said, no, thanks. And they still come at me until I have to back up and scream at them, get away from me. And they go, you're not very spiritual. Well, I'm sorry, but you were saying that my no doesn't matter. If a woman said, no, I don't want to have sex, would you say she's not spiritual because she pushed someone away when they pushed? Reiki energy can be just as powerful and just as intimate. No means no.
Boundaries 101, and being able to use your voice, assert yourself, know what is right or wrong for you. Yeah, I appreciate this. This is really helpful. This is really helpful. So you called this show Clean Out Your Life Closet, and I want to know what that means to you.
All right. I love titles. And Clean Out Your Life Closet is actually the first of 3 books in what I'm calling the self-development series. Clean Out Your Life Closet, which is where you get rid of everything that just isn't working for you anymore. The one I'm working on now is called The Big Reboot. That was named in 2016, but boy, does it have a different meaning in 2021 after the year of the big bug. And the last one is Be Your Own Masterpiece. So Clean Out Your Life Closet. We've all bought self-help books. They have sexy titles, they have great covers, and we read a couple of pages at Barnes and Noble, and yeah, this looks good. And we get it home and we read it. What do you mean that I can't eat food with leptin and I have to be vegan and do yoga at 4 a.m. 3 times a week? I'm a mom with 2 kids and I'm a teacher in Milwaukee. Are you nuts? So this book doesn't do that. It goes through 4 subjects: clarity, adaptability, simplicity, and making friends with stress. But I don't tell you do everything I tell you and it all gets better. I haven't lived your life. So instead, I say, here's some of the stupid things I did. Here's a client example, and here's some stuff to think about. And then at the end, there are open-ended questions. The adventure pages. You can't get these questions wrong. I mean, on finding happiness with what you have right now. How good are you at finding happiness in the moment? If you aren't good, what do you think stops you? You will know that, not me. And if you do every adventure page at the end of each chapter, at the end of reading that, that's your story. That's your self-help and self-awareness book. You and your friend could get blank copies, and if you both did the chapters, totally different books. I trust my readers. We have our own answers. It is. You may need a little help finding them, but that's my job. They're still your answers.
Yes. I love this for so many reasons, and I think this is extremely important. I think more and more now than ever, I believe that we each have our own answers within. And I personally am very not interested when authorities or things above me seemingly tell me what to do to live my life. And it sounds like you and I are on a similar mission here of personal empowerment, of reminding people that there are answers within themselves, but they have to ask. And maybe they have to start by trusting.
You know, the way you say have to ask, one of my favorite sayings in here is called think like a Martian. And people go, huh? It's like this. A Martian coming down from Mars or planet Zorch, whatever, he lands on Earth and he's a very happy little explorer. He knows nothing about humanity. You and I are sitting together and there's water coming out of your eyes. I might say, why are you crying? But I could be wrong. The Martian would look at you and go, why is there water coming from your eyes? And the Martian might get a better answer because maybe your contact lenses are bugging you, or maybe you have allergies, or maybe there's an emotional basis. When people do not ask, when people are not, when they think they know what is going on and they cannot listen without judgment, without worrying about what did I do, then they're missing so many chances. Quick story about that. The example I used, there was a man who was married, had a kid, but was in a very bad car accident, which basically took his face and made it spin art. So he was very embarrassed. He always walked around hunched, but he still was with his family. So one day he was putting his little girl to bed. She grabs his face, tucks it next to hers and says, this would be a good picture, but it would be better if mommy's face were in the picture. Now, the old him would have said, even my daughter thinks I'm hideous. But he had learned to think like a Martian. So he just turned around and asked the question, why would it be a better picture if mommy's face was in the picture? And his daughter looks at him like he is from Mars and says, because mommy can't hold the camera still and you take good pictures. Now, because he knew to ask the question, not self-judge, not judge the situation, he found out his daughter did not see his disfigurement, but thought he was great behind a camera. Look at the difference that that probably made in his life in that moment.
Do you have any other, I'm sure you have a million stories to share, like, and I'm sure
a million, darling.
So many times. Is there a story that you love to share, one that you don't share all the time?
About what subject? I am a storyteller.
Yeah.
I guess the one that I will tell about mediumship and the dead. My father was my best friend. He and I shared same birthday, March 8th. For my first 4 years, I thought I came in a box with ribbons. What did I know? When he was older and he knew what I did, he was one of the few in the family who really got it. I said, look, Dad, when you die, you're going to get upstairs, sign the guest register, unpack your bags and take the orientation tour. We'll talk. And he looked at me and said, well, honey, that's a great idea. 3 weeks after he died, he shows up in my living room here, and I see them here and maybe a heat shimmer, but I knew it was Dad. And I just started crying for 30 seconds, and then I looked at him and yelled, "I told you!" And there's this wave of laughter. So now, he was a fabulous cardiologist, very beloved by all of his patients. When I do medical intuitive work, sometimes he'll come in, especially if it's heart related. And there was a woman up in upstate New York. She's a nurse at 74. She just wanted me to do a quick scan. And I hear the rustle behind me, and I point to the empty air and I said, "This is my father, Dr. Dorkin. He was a crack cardiologist when he was here, and he still does consults." Now, me, I know from nothing on medicine. But I open up, and the first words out of my mouth are, "What's with the T waves?" She looks at me. Now, my father was director of the heart station at his hospital and spent his entire time reading electrocardiograms, EKGs. What is an abnormal T wave? It's something that is on someone's EKG, and she had just been diagnosed with one 2 weeks before. And I look up at my father in the empty air and I say, "You know, you're still a pretty damn good doctor, even if you are dead." And he laughs. You know, it's just sometimes there is that simple level of comfort. And no, he's not stuck on earth. He is in his full soul self in heaven. But when he wants to see his daughter, he comes and he puts on the Dr. Jerry suit. And that's great.
I love that. I have full body chills as you were even telling that story. So it just, it hits home, it strikes. So beautiful, beautiful. If you were to kind of define or share like what you believe your mission is on planet Earth, what would it be?
Oh, that's actually very easy. It's what I call my sentence of passion. Your sentence of passion is not who you are or what you do or even how you do it. It's your vapor trail. So that when you go skidding into heaven on bald tires and fumes in the tank, and God hands you a beer and says, "So," you go, "Look at this. I did this. Isn't it cool?" So my sentence of passion is cross the bridge from fear to fearlessness and fly. When I can take somebody from point A to point B when they thought they couldn't make it, whack them on the shoulder, say, "Here are your wings. You don't need a flight plan. Now get," I am living my bliss. And I get to do that every single day.
I love that. I think that's an incredible reminder. And as you're saying it, my aunt who passed would always call me a sparkle agent. And I'm just going to like own that and just be the sparkle agent. I'm going to start introducing myself that way. And thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. What other message would you like to share with our community here today? Is there anything that you feel on your heart or your mind that anyone listening would like to hear?
Yes, last year was tough for all of us. I refer to that as the year of murder hornet bingo, the year of hold my beer, or the what the year. So whatever happened last year, it's okay if you didn't get things done. Please stop beating yourself up about it. The big reboot idea is we have just come through the valley of the shadows. What do you want to leave behind in the pre-big bug world? There's so much that we did unconsciously because we didn't give ourselves time to think. And then God just said, "Y'all are getting a timeout." So see this like you're coming out of a car wash and the car is all nice and clean. You don't have to go and pick up the empty candy wrappers or smear it with dirt again if you don't want to. Take a different road. Treat it differently. You're the shiny new car who just came out. Where do you want to go with it? And how do you want to treat it?
Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. How can people enter your world? How can they find you? New books, all that jazz?
Oh, I'm hard to avoid. You can go to my website, which is CorbieMitleid.com, and you'll see not only just normal psychic readings, but I do sentence of passion consultations. I do soul plan sessions based on the work that I did with Robert Schwartz and his book series. You can find me on YouTube, where there are guided meditations. There are spiritual things and tarot reads. And I'm going to be putting out a new series called Corbie Gets Candid, 5 minutes of me in your face. I'm on Patreon if you want to come and have private sessions with me just for these people and support my work. You can find me on Facebook at Fire Through Spirit. That's where I do my free readings once a month. And go to Amazon for You've Got the Magic Who Needs a Genie, The Psychic Yellow Brick Road, and Clean Out Your Life Closet. And this last one is not only all in paperback and Kindle, but it's an audiobook that I read for you.
Amazing. Amazing. I can't stop smiling, so thank you.
My pleasure, my friend.
I'm just so grateful to have conversations with people like you, and it just reminds me of my own light in the world, and it reminds me that there's so many other people who are here to share the same message.
One candle lights another.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Corbie. And thank you everyone for listening, supporting, being here, showing us love. I'm just so grateful. This is really a movement. It's not just me. It is all of us gathering together, one voice at a time. So thank you so much. Have a great day.